Hello and welcome everybody to another Wednesday night with Cruise Chat. My name is Linda Satanovich and I am your temporary host tonight. Matt will be here very shortly and uh, just, just give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. I'm doing double duty as tech person, and I had the Facebook running in my ear, so it was throwing me off. So welcome. I am your temporary host. I am here in place of Matt Hoopy until he can get here this evening. Joining me on the panel, we have a very special guest. We are very excited to welcome Fiona Cosman from Norwegian Cruise Lines, who are our supplier of the month. And she'll be here to join us for the panel and give us some of her insights from her own personal travels and from her experience as our rep for Norwegian Cruise Lines. We have Karen and Trisha here as well on the panel. And of course, we have our own Tina, and she will be presenting tonight. So we are talking about South America and the Amazon, which sounds lovely right about now as we head into spring. So I'm going to take this opportunity and pass it over to Tina.
Thank you. So this one's pretty close to home for me because I've actually been to many parts of South America and I've been on the Amazon River. So um, I can actually speak to my experience. There are some places that are still on my bucket list in South America. And I'll let you know when we get to those that they all look amazing. I can't wait to finish off my full round tour of South America, and you're going to see some fun pictures of myself and my family as well when we were there. Okay, so obviously, South America, it is ginormous. There are so many different parts to South America as far as cruising. You are not well, I shouldn't say you're not, because you could do a round circumnavigation around South America, and it takes about 70 something days to do it. I've had friends that have done it, so it is possible. South America basically starts at the tip right there where you see the very skinny part. That's where the Panama Canal is, and that's basically the start of South America. Some of you may have touched into South America just on a regular Caribbean cruise. If it goes far enough south, you could end up in Cartagena, Colombia. Typically, I'm not going to talk about that one. That one, that's more of a Caribbean thing for me. I'm going to talk about actually going down to South America and immersing yourself in their culture. So, obviously, with it being so big, I mean, being as a Canadian, that the West Coast is very different from the East Coast, and it's no different in South America. There are very different cultures, cuisines. It's just different landscapes, from the Amazon to Patagonia. It's all beautiful, and so many different things to see. So if you think you want to go to South America, you really do need to break it down and say, what strikes me as being something that I would want to see. Popular Brazil and Argentina, very popular for the cruise ports. Chile and Patagonia, famous for the fjords. Peru, famous for Machu Picchu. Ecuador, famous for obviously the Galapagos. Just so many great options. I guess I can move it to the next slide, right, Linda? Okay. All right. So I'm going to start off by talking about the Amazon River. So it's actually the world's largest river system. And if you look at the little map here on the left-hand side that's in green, you can see it actually goes almost from one side of South America to the other, and there's many subsets off of the Amazon, and it's quite amazing. We did not know really what to expect when we went down the Amazon, but it's enormous. Like, you're actually on the river at some points, and you don't see land on either side. That's how wide it is. And then there's other parts where people's houses were right on the edge of the land, and you were floating by in your big cruise ship, and you could see these houses on the side. So it was quite amazing. Also, too, the Amazon is brown. It looks like chocolate milk, and it's not dirty. It's just the way the Amazon is. But one thing that we learned while we were going down the Amazon was that the ship actually can't take in water and clean it. So we did conserve. They didn't ask us to do much. It was just more about don't throw your towels after one shower. Try and hold back on some laundry if you can. It wasn't a big deal, but they did ask us to do a little bit of conserving because we were down the Amazon for 8 days, and they have to make sure they take in enough seawater prior to make sure that they can get us through those 8 days. So that was quite interesting. There's a ton of wildlife down the Amazon. I mean, I got to hold a baby sloth. It's a little different than, even the Caribbean down there. It's like the people and the animals are kind of living together. So, the sloths, these baby sloths, children were running around with them, and, for $1, they would let you hold them. And so it was quite interesting. You can see there in my middle picture, there's some big bugs. So I did ask the guide if that thing would kill me if it bit me, and he said, no, you'd get sick, but you wouldn't die. And that was a good enough answer for me to take that challenge on. So I actually did get to hold him, and then I dropped him. Mistakenly dropped him, and then I picked him up and let him run at me again. So that was pretty exciting. I was the only person in my group that took that challenge on. You can see I have a hard hat. We were in the Amazon in the forest, and there's things falling from the trees, so we had to wear hard hats, which it was a great experience. We got to see what it was really like. There's Indigenous people that live there, and we got to see how they live. So that was a lot of fun. Best season to go down the Amazon, December to May. It's their astral season. And like I said, there's Indigenous people, and yeah. So I will move on from the Amazon. By the way, we went down to the Manus, which is the main city that's on the Amazon. So it is a hub for bringing things in and out of the country. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Brazilian and the Argentinian coastline. So this is quite a large part of South America. If you go back and look at if we were to go back and look at the first slide, I'll just put it back for a second here. You can see it's a great big part of the entire eastern coast of South America. So the main cities are Rio de Janeiro and Buenos Aires. So some of the fun things that we got to do in Buenos Aires was there's tango shows. If you look down at the picture, the second one from the right, where those people are out the windows, there's an entire area for those where you can go and look at all of that. A lot of like dancing in the streets and things like that. And then as far as Rio goes, which is my first two pictures, Christ the Redeemer, which, I mean, if you see a picture of Christ the Redeemer right off the bat, you know exactly where that is. It's just amazing. You don't realize how huge it is until you're actually up there and you're standing with it. So, and then we also went during Carnival season, which was pretty spectacular. So we hired a company to take us to Carnival. We had box seats. We were a little bit nervous. I mean, it is South America is there is crime, and you do have to be careful. And so we chose, at this time of the year when there would be, thousands and thousands and thousands of people everywhere, we wanted to be safe. So we did hire a company to take us and put us in a box seat at Carnival. Now, I have since been to Mardi Gras, and I have to say Carnival was not even a question. That Carnival was, 100 times better than Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras was fun. But if you want to see it for real, you go to Rio de Janeiro and see it. So the amount of work that these people put into this parade, and there's 95-year-olds dancing up and down the parade because it's a rite of passage for them to be in this parade every year. So it's pretty spectacular. And then the other thing to do in Rio would also be Sugarloaf Mountain, which is pretty cool. You actually get to take a tram over to the mountain, and the views are spectacular. So those two cruise ports are pretty big. for South America. They tend to sort of be the hub to start a lot of the cruises that do South America. But again, that's the east side. If you're, going to the west side, there's other options as well. Okay, the next slide. So the next slide would be Patagonia and Cape Horn. So this, let me just go back to my first slide again. Maybe I should have just plunked this on every slide. So you can see that at the tip, the very bottom there is Patagonia. And Patagonia is actually on my bucket list. It's known for its fjords, and apparently it is spectacular. So it's definitely the next place that I want to go to see. I've seen the fjords in Alaska, but I've, heard of Patagonia as being, right up there and amazing to see those as well. So the fjords, the glaciers, there's all kinds of wildlife there. Tierra de Fuego, I can't pronounce that, which is in Ushuaia, which is pretty much at the tip of the world. It's, if you're going to Antarctica, that's where you're typically going out of, is Ushuaia. The Beagle Channel is there, and again, the best season is November to March. That's the nicest weather. So it's typically, this is, if you're doing Antarctica, you might want to mix in a Patagonia cruise along with it. Okay, so, and I've also been to the Galapagos. So now I'm on the other coast. So the Galapagos, if we go back and look at the map, it's on the west side. It's about halfway down, maybe not as far, but it's in off the coast of Ecuador, and Ecuador is named Ecuador because it's at the equator. So if you go to Ecuador, typically you'll go to actually where the equator is, and you can actually do a little egg test to put an egg on a pin to see, because it's a whole different thing with the equator, and the way the toilets flush and all that stuff. So, but anyways, yeah, so you typically go into Ecuador and then you take a plane out to the Galapagos. So it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The wildlife there are not afraid of people. It's pretty cool that you can walk right up to something and it doesn't run away from you, because they don't have fear of wildlife, they don't have fear of humans because humans aren't killing them. So they're very protected. In the Galapagos, there's a lot of small ships, and the ship that I was on had 100 people. It was a fantastic experience. You just take Zodiacs in and out to go to the Galapagos Islands, or just even Zodiacing around the islands to look at the wildlife. So the Galapagos is one of those places that you can really go at any time during the year because it is on the equator. So the weather really doesn't fluctuate. You can go any month and have an amazing trip to the Galapagos. And the strict environmental regulations, so that's very similar to Antarctica as well, and in that they don't want to bring anything new to these islands to mess with the ecosystem. So for example, when I went to the Galapagos, every time we got on and off the ship, we had to wash our shoes, wash ourselves, wash our backpacks. They had bins of sanitizing stations where you would dunk everything in, kick off your wetsuit, everything would get cleaned before you would get back on the ship or back onto the Zodiac. Okay, the Antarctic. So this is another place that's on my bucket list. It is a bit more challenging than some of the other sailings because you do need to go through the Drake Passage. And if you've ever heard of the Drake Passage, it can be quite rough at times. It takes a couple of days to get across it. Now, there are other ways to avoid the Drake Passage, and that would be flying in and out of King George Island. Quite costly, but it can be done. But most cruises go from Ushuaia and goes over the Drake Passage to get to Antarctica. Depending on the type of cruise you're going to do, you could be doing expedition, which actually is going to take you in Zodiacs up to places where you can actually walk on land, or you're just going to be doing the drive-by. So a lot of the big cruise ships do the drive-by. You still get to see a lot of really great things on those Antarctic sailings. It's just a different experience. And best season, again, is November to March. So typically our winter, their summer. Okay. Some of the add-ons that I would recommend. So something that we went to is Iguazu Falls. And Iguazu Falls, you can actually get there from Buenos Aires or Rio de Janeiro, or I think there's other places that you can go to. it's a chartered flight that you typically take. It's pretty much in the center of South America. It borders on 3 countries, which is Argentina, Brazil, and I can never remember if it's Paraguay or Uruguay, but it borders on 3 different countries, and it is unbelievable. And I live an hour from Niagara Falls, so I know what a spectacular falls look like, but this thing blew me away. It's 3 miles long. So, and you can walk it on either the Argentina side or the Brazilian side. So you go there, you typically go for 2 full days, and you walk the Brazilian side one day, and then you go and stay overnight, and then the next day you walk it on the other side, and it is unbelievable. We actually also did a Zodiac that went under one of the falls, which was a lot of fun. But I think I might have messed up on the notes on this one. I didn't add in my Iguazu Falls notes, so apologize for that. But there you can see a picture that we took of ourselves. It's pretty warm, so be prepared. Light clothes and but it's unbelievable. Like it's you would never regret going there, that's for sure. And then again with the notes, I'm so sorry. Another add-on that I would suggest is Machu Picchu. So if you're going to be on the West Coast, maybe you're going to the Galapagos, or you're doing something down, Santiago, Chile, or Patagonia. Maybe you make a stop on the way, or you add on a stop to go to Peru, where you would see Machu Picchu. And I think this picture speaks for itself. It's the archaeological sites of Machu Picchu, amazing. Again, on my bucket list, I didn't get there when I went to the Galapagos, but it's just unbelievably spectacular. So definitely something that you would want to try if you were on the west coast of South America, try to get to. Okay, so questions about visas and health and safety. And this is something that obviously when you use us as an agency, we can help you with these kinds of things. It does vary by the country. So we did have to get some visas when we went. We did fingerprints when we went to Argentina. Every time we went in and out of Argentina, we had to go back and do our fingerprints again, which was interesting. But they have the systems. It's quick. But it's something that we would be able to look into for you and help you with getting those requirements. Also, too, there's vaccinations that you might need to get. Yellow fever, I had to get that when we did go into the Amazon. Also, too, I always recommend if you're going to any other part of the world other than just, say, maybe Europe, I do recommend that you have a travel doctor, or even just go and see your family doctor, because they will give you lots of tips and tricks. So, it was very important that we didn't get any bug bites when we were there. There's viruses, so your doctor can also pre-prescribe things for you so that you've got them. I carry around antibiotics every time I go anywhere that, my travel doctor has given me, and they just stay in my bag and they're there for emergency. Now, last year they expired. I went and got another prescription, and now I carry that around. I've never had to use them, but it is something that I would definitely recommend if you were going to South America or somewhere, another part of the world that, you maybe don't have the same immunities that they have, the people that live there. Altitude considerations, obviously Ecuador, there's issues with altitude. So when I first got into Ecuador, I felt like I was sitting on a washing machine. My whole body was like, so because I had forgotten to take my altitude pills. If I had taken my altitude pills, I wouldn't have had that issue. So that's another thing that you would want to speak to your doctor about. And then obviously, if you get motion sickness, the Drake Passage, you're going to want to make sure that you have some medication for that. Or, like my husband likes to do the Ryan Ginger. So that's his way of getting through the motion sickness. All right, so that is my presentation. Matt, are you going to continue? Are you going to host, or do you want Linda to finish off?
I can totally jump in. I apologize for being late, but always the best time to jump into this is right at giveaway time. But I do remember my time in the Galapagos as well, and that we really had to adjust to the altitude and the medications that were needed for the altitude. And I've never had those kind of issues in the past, but I'm sure glad that we had those pills readily accessible, because as soon as we got off the plane in Quito in Ecuador, we felt the effects of the sharp altitude change. So it was good having that medication, because you never realize just how quickly it's going to hit you, and you start to feel a little bit dizzy and nauseous. And so it's good to have that kind of stuff. But it's giveaway time. Linda, what are we giving away tonight?
So I think I'm going to do the giveaway at the end of Q&A, because I want to give more people the opportunity to put their names in the comments and be part of the conversation. But tonight we are giving away let me look at my little goodie bags here. We are giving away a passport holder, Vacations for Canadians passport holder. Let me just
amazing. And from what I remember, they have a little slip on fold on the inside as well, so you can tuck your visas on one side with your passport on the other. So
yeah,
very handy.
I use that for my Nexus card. It actually works quite well to put your Nexus card on the inside pocket.
Yeah, there's a little card holder in there for that as well, or your CPass card. All right. Well, I've been scrolling through the comments looking for questions. I think we only have one that's come in so far, so don't be shy if you have any questions, whether it's about the topic that was discussed tonight, or if you have any questions at all. We have Fiona on the panel with us as well from Norwegian Cruise Line, so don't be shy if you have questions about Norwegian. We had a great webinar with her before, but if you've had some burning questions from the last time we talked, certainly now is the time to take advantage of those, or any questions at all. We have a stacked panel of agents tonight, as well as the owner of Vacations for Canadians, Tina, on the panel as well. So by all means, fire your questions away at us, and we'll be happy to answer them for you.
All right, and we have one to start with. So we have one from Kate asking, what is the reciprocity agreement you mentioned?
Yeah, way to put me on the spot. Thanks, Kate. So I'm not sure, Matt, do you or Rick, do you know what this is? I know it has to do with the fees. So I'm wondering if it's the waiving of fees because of its North America, South America.
Let me ask my friend Google.
Yeah.
That's what I thought when I read it, was that it was an agreement with us that, you know, for us North Americans traveling there.
Yeah, I'm stumped as well.
Okay, well, we're waiting for Google to help us out with that. I'll just remind everybody, make sure to say hello in the comments so that we can add you to the draw. And we also, as Matt mentioned, just put your questions, anything to do with cruising or destinations or Norwegian Cruise Lines, anything. We're here to answer your questions, and we've got a great panel tonight. All right.
Do we have any questions for our agents, Linda? I know you usually have a few of those tucked away to put us on the spot.
I do, but Megan has a question, so I'm going to pop hers up, and I'm taking Kate's down. We are trying to find an answer for you, Kate, but I don't want everybody to have to watch us struggle.
Rick's our Googler, and he's shaking his head no.
I'm having trouble with this one, I tell you. But I'll get tomorrow. Kate, I'll send you an email.
So Megan asks, when it comes to the medication, should we be doing that every time we cruise or just to certain areas?
So I guess for me, I carry my antibiotics everywhere. But as far as meeting the travel doctor for other types of medications or vaccinations, I would suggest definitely Africa, Asia, and South America would be very important. I've talked to my travel doctor when I've gone to Europe, and she's basically told me it's kind of the same as, you know, like North America. We have the same kind of antibodies. So there isn't going to be a whole lot of different things there. It's more about that, you know, it's more about like, let's take malaria, for example. If you go to Africa, they're immune. So they might get bitten by bugs that have malaria. And because they've grown up in that area, they don't get sick like we do. So that's why we take malaria pills. So it's the same kind of a situation, right? Your travel doctor can help you navigate all of that. But it was more about the, where you're going as far as that. For me, it was Asia, Africa, and South America that I had to do extra things, take extra medications or vaccinations to go to those places, whether they were required or whether it was just a safety issue that I felt more comfortable with that vaccination. Does anyone else want to add anything onto that?
Yeah, I know from my times of traveling, like especially even with vaccinations to specific countries and stuff like that, sometimes there's boosters as well. So if you've had it, but it's been years since you've had that one, then sometimes you require a booster just because it's been so many years. So that's definitely something that when you check with your family physician and make them aware of where it is that you're traveling to, that they can review your medical records with you and just see if you have anything that's out of date or just needs like a booster to give you the proper antibodies in your system to be able to combat whatever you might be exposed to when you're traveling to some of these countries. And then like we were talking about with the Galapagos, just knowing about the extreme difference in altitude and just knowing that can have an impact on people that just aren't exposed to those types of heights, that's something you can get prescribed to you for travel purposes. But it's not something that's just like an over-the-counter med, so you definitely have to see a doctor for it.
Anybody else have anything to add?
Looks like Tina added all the notes about that into our chat. Thank you, Tina.
It's a tip for tat, B. So if we charge them $50 to get into our country, they charge us $50 to get into their country.
All right.
So tariffs, you're saying, just tariffs.
Pretty much, yeah.
We're going to move on from there. So Monica is asking, can you provide some details about the types of currency to bring, i.e. U.S. or local currency? So Tina, do you want to answer this, or is there someone else who wants to take that question?
Somebody else might want to answer a question.
Matt, Rick. I know Karen's got a cold, so we're trying to not pressure her to answer today. Fiona, if you have any insights on any of these, feel free to jump in.
I've been to Ecuador, Quito, and honestly, this is the first I've encountered the conversation of altitude. I landed, I had no idea that was so it didn't affect me. So it may affect people differently is my only thought on that. Because I didn't travel around Quito or we just flew to Galapagos. And for currency, just for Norwegian, the ship currency is USD. So everything on board the ships are USD. And you can charge everything to an account and close off everything at the end of your cruise. So you're not having to pay out every day. But each of the different ports of call, my suggestion would be cards, bring your credit cards. And I guess if needed, take out currency. But I'm not sure if we're talking about a specific cruise itinerary and which countries.
That's just it, right? It really does depend on where you are. Some places you're completely fine with the US dollar, and other places it's better to have the local currency. You can ask us when you're booking your cruise, we can look it up, but Google's also your friend. Often you'll find some great answers there. But back to the altitude thing, just to say, this is a good reason to have a travel agent because, the cruise lines maybe don't tell you things about the altitude. I mean, that's not really their job to tell us that. So that's a good reason why you should have a travel advisor that can give you those tips when you do those cruises.
Yeah, same with like
Always.
even something as simple as sunscreen. You know, for some of the countries that we go to visit, you have to have a very specific type of sunscreen because of the impact that it can have on the environment. So it has to be mineral based, or you know, it has to be certain free of certain chemicals and things like that. So just those kind of things that if you don't think about that or you don't know about that, then all of a sudden you're on the ship and you're told that you can't have these, and then you're buying a very expensive sunscreen when you're there because they know to mark it up for those who are traveling and are unaware of it, and all of a sudden their sunscreens are confiscated. So something as simple as that, that type of research. But as far as the currency goes, the Government of Canada website, that's my number one tool when it comes to going to foreign countries that I'm less familiar with, because it has all of the different kind of warnings about security and safety. It has all the different breakdown of currency denominations that they use, whatever their local currency is, as well as the predominant currency that they use for tourism. So usually the US dollar is a safe bet, but that's certainly where you can get that, as well as any kind of advisories on major weather forecasts and stuff like that, as far as seasonal impacts and things like that to be concerned about. So definitely a great tool for anybody who's just looking for information when they're going somewhere that they're less familiar with, after talking to your travel agent, of course.
Okay, so next question is from Kate. What about inoculations for Morocco? Do you know off the top of your head if any are recommended? Rick, are you Googling as we speak?
Tell me more, right?
That's not one we want to look for Google, though. We were going to use a reputable site for that one.
WebMD.
And I actually have a hosted cruise going to Morocco, but it's not until 2027, so this is not something I've even looked up yet.
Okay, well, we will continue to look for that answer for you. And I'm just going to pop this comment up there because this is awesome. Michelle is watching this on the Celebrity Millennium from beautiful Japan. She booked this amazing cruise with us. So amazing.
Yep. Well, I wonder what time it is there. It must be morning.
So while we're waiting to figure out the answer about inoculations and Morocco, Rick just popped that in the comments. I am actually going to throw this to Fiona, because even though we're talking all cruising questions in South America, I know that new ship inaugural sailing is coming up, and I know that Karen and Tina are going to be on there, and they've promised me that they're going to do the aqua coaster and film it for me.
I don't know that Karen's going to. I know I will.
Well, let's not forget, it's going to be in Boston and New York in April, so it may not be warm enough to really enjoy it. But
it's Fiona, we're good. That's just me throwing me a lineup.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So multiple trips, like having a priority pass at a music park. Yeah, it's an aqua slide coaster in an innovation, the first time on the waters. We've taken the technology of roller coasters, that it's a launching system into the slide. There's 2 slides and it goes around the top of the ship. So it's a full circle experience. They shoot you into it. And it's a great kind of, well, I haven't taken it myself yet, but the essence is that you're going around and there's 2 tubes, so you can race with your travel partner and see who comes out on the other end. And we do have another slide. It's a dry slide. It's called the drop. So it actually will drop from just on the outside of the ship from deck 18 to deck 10. And you literally drop. And again, you can tell your travel partner to meet you down at the 8th deck or the 10th deck, and they can take the elevator and see who gets there first.
I'm going to do that one because I don't think my weight will be a good thing. I might drop too fast.
I've seen it. It kind of has a curve, so it's not.
I don't know. We'll see.
We're not in the business of hurting people, so it's definitely a safe experience.
Oh, we are so looking forward to it. Luke's actually joining us as well, so the 3 of us will be on there. We'll be checking everything out that we can and sharing all of the information with you guys. We have literally about 48 hours to learn that ship from top to bottom. So we're going to do our best.
And we have new entertainment. We've trained a whole slew of dancers, and it's the Prince, the Revolution, a celebration of Prince music. And it's not been done since his passing. There's been no collaboration with the music. So this is the first. And you'll experience it on Norwegian. It's just going to be spectacular. I've seen highlights. Purple is definitely a theme with some, so I'm waiting to see what it looks like, and I can't wait to share this with you guys as well.
That sounds so exciting.
That's amazing. And what about restaurants and food? Because now that we've got you on here, and I don't see any more questions at the moment, let's talk about this. I love these new ships and hearing all about the exciting stuff that's happening on those.
So if you're a foodie, of course you want to dine out on different destinations and have authentic experiences. But on our ships, we also have specialty restaurants, and you can be a foodie and absolutely enjoy something different every day. And because of our More at Sea package, we include credits towards those specialty dining so that you can include that in your overall experience without paying extra. So there's over 20 restaurants that are specialty dining. So a steakhouse, we have a fish house, we have teppanyaki, we have Cagney's Steakhouse, and we have a new restaurant on the Aqua for Thai food, Sukhothai, and a plant-based section on the buffet area, Indulge Food Hall that we call it, 24 hours, and it's plant-based food. So there's lots and lots, and that's just a tidbit. I'm not telling all 20 different options, but dining is included on a cruise. So we do have 3 different main dining rooms. The specialty restaurants just elevate that experience a bit more. My favorite personally was Le Bistro. It's our French restaurant. It was the most delicious steak I've ever had in my life. And we're very much come as you are, no dress code or anything, but to elevate that experience, if you have a special night or special occasion, one of our specialty restaurants might be perfect for that. And you can dress up, because if you show up at Le Bistro in flip-flops and shorts, they will turn you away. So there is some limitations to the flexibility of dress, and it does open up the opportunity to have a purpose to dress up for your occasion if you go to a special restaurant.
Amazing.
Carrie, how are we going to fit all of that into
2 days?
We're going to have a really good plan. We need a really good plan. The whole ship, make sure
we do need a good plan.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. I'm sure we will.
Well, you're just not going to sleep. It's what you have to do for work. You just no sleeping, just sliding and
Sleep's
eating
overrated.
and drinking and watching print shows. It sounds like an amazing time.
Do you know what I really like about these media sailings as well is, we often get pulled into the theater and the bigwigs will be there. So, and they kind of give us a sneak peek about what's coming up, which is always really exciting to be able to share that with our guests as well.
Yes, and I think one of the highlights, and they've mentioned it just briefly with us, and it's being rolled out, but there's going to be snippets of entertainment throughout the ship versus a big Broadway show or a big show. It'll be a frequent, more frequent experience on a few different areas of the ship. So kind of like a flash mob. If you remember when that was really a big hit, some years ago, wasn't it? Flash mobs at weddings and getting out of the subway and you have a flash mob happen. So we're doing something similar, but not like a flash mob, but it'll be really entertaining. It's one of the things when you go on a Norwegian ship, you know you're on holiday. This is definitely where you're making memories to last a lifetime. And we've designed the ship that you can create the holiday that you want. So we're not putting you on a schedule. You figure out your little neighborhood, your favorite restaurants, or if you want to try multiple restaurants, it is up to you. And it's designed that way.
Amazing.
That's awesome. All right. So it doesn't look like we have any more questions. We're wrapping things up earlier every week.
People are traveling. They're busy.
That's true.
And you're doing a good job at booking them.
And they're logging in from Japan too.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, she said it was, I believe she said 8:00 in the morning there.
Yeah.
So her day is just
Yeah,
starting
8:33.
Yeah.
You can take a Norwegian ship to over 400 destinations globally, and we leave from 50 different ports around the globe. So there is something for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we would be remiss if we didn't mention the Norwegian offer that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, for the rest up until the end of the month, so from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, Fiona, as our supplier of the month, has generously brought to the table a great show offer, which is a $200 onboard credit on any sailing in a balcony or above. So now is the perfect time to book that Norwegian cruise, maybe on the new ship after you see Tina, Karen, and Luca flying down the Aqua Coaster. You'll be inspired to do that trip yourself.
So, and I just want to point out, because, there's a lot of advertisement that, okay, yeah, we're going to throw in extra, but we're going to up the price and different back and forth with, no, I'm not saying cruise lines, I'm saying in general, retail. When we give these special offers, these are over and above what you're going to get with the cruise line. So when we say exclusive, we mean exclusive. Fiona has given us this special onboard credit, regardless of what Norwegian has going on, regardless if they have triple cruise next on, or I don't know when prepaid gratuities are coming back, or their own onboard credit, or cruise first, or whatever else is going on with Norwegian and all the other great things that we have going on. Fiona is giving us $200 on top of any of that.
It's a good deal. It's a really good deal.
Yes, I agree 100%. This is the month to book your Norwegian. And we have so many exclusive rates. I haven't checked in a while to count, but I think we must be in the hundreds of sailings that we have secured exclusive rates.
And
so
we just
giving tons off of Booking Direct.
And we just shared with you a whole slew of 2025 sailings at Canada at par rates. It's a great deal. It's a 35 to 40% less with our Canada par rates.
I think we'll probably be sharing that out on our Facebook group tomorrow, so watch for that. And we have another question here from Megan. And absolutely, Megan, you can just let whoever your agent know is that you want to prepay your gratuities, and for sure they will add that onto your bill. Nobody wants to get on the ship and then start seeing those those daily charges added onto your bill. You're trying to be on vacation, you're trying to have a good time. So I'm a big fan of prepaying gratuities.
Yeah, and especially trying to avoid those foreign transaction fees on your credit card if you're using a Canadian card and you're on the ship. Anything that you can look after in advance that you can pay in Canadian funds, you want to take advantage of that. So that's one less thing that you can be charged for on the ship and pay in the U.S. currency that's on the ship.
Oh, the other great thing that Norwegian has is the cruise first. So if you pay $150, Norwegian will give you $300 off the price of your cruise. And if you time it right, sometimes they have a promotion, $250 will get you $500. So it's a great offer from Norwegian.
And actually, that promotion is coming up. I'm just trying to make sure I give you the right dates. Cruise first is
Spoiler.
$250 to $400 for bookings soon. So next week, I'll leave it to you guys to announce, but it's sometime next week. It'll go to 250. So there's a thing. It's a big benefit because we match that 250 and make it 500, and it's perfect to apply to your deposit. And it has to be purchased or used for a future sailing. But don't hold off holding. That's the biggest concern. Because the price can go up. It's a supply and demand scenario. So if the prices, except for what Tina has, she has some group pricing. So that might play in as well. So please reach out to your travel agent. For the best deal.
Fiona, like you can buy the cruise first and hold it, right?
Yeah.
They expire.
No, they don't.
Right. So even if you're not ready to book something, get that cruise first while it's on sale and hold it. And then when you're ready to book, you've got it. So, because it does have to be purchased before you book the sailing.
Yeah.
Okay. And Vanessa is asking, can you use multiple cruise first vouchers?
No.
This is where it's a little technical. You can use multiple cruise next vouchers. Usually, they usually have the sale one that you can use too. I think right now you have the 3 that you can use. And then we'll go back to 2, I would imagine. But cruise first is always just the 1.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, cruise first you buy on land, cruise next you buy on the ship.
Yeah, so you'll be able to get that cruise first, 250 equals 500. And because we're still in March, you'll still get the $200 onboard credit if you're balcony and above, correct?
So it's 250 becomes 500. So you actually get $250. And no, you can't combine cruise first and cruise next.
Right.
And cruise next, when you buy it on the ships, you get free money in exchange. And you can actually pay the cruise next certificate that you've purchased with the onboard credits that they give you if you're not using it for something else. Mm-hmm. So it's really free money to plan ahead and book your next cruise.
Or you just use that onboard credit to pay off your spa bill.
Yeah.
Your spa bill, your wife's spa bill.
Yeah.
So that people will be able to stack those offers coming up soon.
But just make sure if you're buying that cruise first voucher, you're looking at a sailing that's more than 120 days out. The cruise has to be at least 120 days out. Otherwise, you can't use that voucher. So don't buy it in anticipation.
It doesn't expire. You can use it on the next one.
That's right.
and 6 plus days sailing.
Yeah.
Good point, Rick. Yep. Always just check with us. There's always terms and conditions on every sale. I mean, it isn't, there's always the fine print. So just check with us and we can help you navigate what's combinable, what isn't combinable, what's the best time to book. So, that's the great thing about us is that we often have a bit of a window into the future, not always a big one, but a little one. And then we can help you with knowing what the best day would be to book.
And so I just dropped into the comments the link to our exclusive rates for Norwegian. So if you want to start pre-planning, there's some really good offers in there.
Yeah. Right. What's great about those spreadsheets too is you can just take them and you can just start, playing around with the numbers. Or what's the cheapest cabin they have, or what's the cheapest, what's the best 10-night sailing they have. Like you can play around with the filters. You can play around with the numbers. We're not hiding anything. This is the price. And then when you're ready to book, you just give us a call.
Awesome. Well, I am going to share my screen now, and we are going to do our giveaway. So as always, if one of our names comes up, we will draw again, but hopefully it will pick one of our viewers.
Oh my gosh, Linda, that is too funny. I don't think I've seen that one before.
Oh, it's not sharing, but we can see it in the...
Oh, it's not sharing?
No, but it's you, Linda, so you get to spin again.
Oh, Linda, you won!
I'm a winner. Fantastic. That's gonna cut back on those.
I'm hoping it's Michelle and Keith in Japan, because that would be perfect to have somebody who's watching in Japan win.
Yep, I know.
That would be awesome.
Oh, we're not going to
Okay,
ship
well,
it to Japan. We'll wait till they get back.
yeah, definitely.
They're
Definitely
scouting out the Japan itinerary for us for March
Oh,
2026.
good.
Okay, well, we won again.
It's
Thank
2
you,
for
Just
2.
Canadians. 2 for 2. I wish I was this
Oh,
lucky
great.
at other
Now we can
stuff.
see it. We can see it
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
See, it was holding off until you guys
Oh,
could see.
oh.
There we go.
Hey, Megan! Awesome.
Congratulations, Megan.
All right. And I did see that Megan put in the comments there that she doesn't have a spa bill, that her bill is just for drinks and sunshine. So that is the way that most people should spend their cruises, is with drinks and sunshine.
But there won't be a bill at the end for drinks because you can buy the More at Sea package and it's unlimited drink.
Good segue. All right. Well, that wraps it up for us for this week. As always, thank you everybody for tuning in from wherever you're watching this. Our next cruise chat will be again on next week. Well, look at that. We're going to be talking about Japan. So hopefully we'll have Michelle and Keith on the chat again, and maybe we'll pick their brain because they'll be fresh off their trip from Japan. But tune in next week, March 26th, 7 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll be sure to talk all things Japan with you. Megan wants to donate her prize to Michelle.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, all right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you to everyone on the panel for being here this evening, and to all of you for watching. And we will see you next week. Bye for now.
Have a great night.
Bye.